Hello Capricorn, welcome back to my channel. This is Skeleton Key Tarot and this is a tarot card reading for Capricorn. All Capricorn placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Wherever you've got Capricorn in your chart or in your life, there's something in this message for you. And as always, cross watchers are welcome here too. So let's begin. Messages for Capricorn, please. What does Capricorn need to know? All right, Capricorn, before I began this video, before I began recording, I was meditating on your energy, connecting with you, and something came up. It was Dances with Wolves. That's like a movie, and I'm not very familiar with this movie. I don't know if it's any good or if it's terrible or anything. Let me know in the comments if you've seen it, I guess, and educate me. But you know, if you want to, but Dances with Wolves. And what I know about it is it's like, I think it's Kevin Costner, like a white guy who, was he raised by Native Americans? And he rides a horse and he's like the mailman in the ancient Old West, like, not ancient, but like the wild, wild west, you know, and he delivers the mail or something, but he like lives with Native American people. And okay, so the way I was seeing it, the message I was getting was this. Let me just be clear and articulate as I can about what I was seeing. It's like, I'm seeing a person who leaves behind their own culture or is raised in a culture that's different than their own ancestors, raised in a different culture, in a different country. Like, okay, so in Dances with Wolves, it's a white guy who's raised or lives with and joins Native Americans. And that's a very different culture than the one that he came from. And he leaves behind his old culture because he feels more connected and more of an identity, even though his identity is kind of mixed between the two. He's split because he's not a Native American. And, you know, so it's hard for him to fit in with Native American people, indigenous people in that way. Some of them don't accept him. Others are a little more accepting of him, I guess. But, like, he doesn't feel like he wants to be a part of, like, Anglo culture, white culture. He doesn't feel comfortable in either one. He's sort of a little bit of both, but neither. He has elements of both of these two different cultures, but he doesn't really fit in 100% in either or. And perhaps this is something to do with you, and I feel like this may be sensitive for you, and I'm not trying to obviously say the wrong thing here, but like, you know, like I feel like I may end up exposing my own ignorance here, and I'm sorry if that's true, but I feel like I'm connecting with somebody who is part of a culture that is different than the one that they may have come from their ancestors. Like, you may move to a new country, and the culture and the language is different from the country of your own father or your own parents or your own ancestors. And you don't feel a connection with your ancestral culture. You feel more connected with the indigenous practices or the new culture that you are raised in or a part of. But you don't really 100% fit in there either because that's not your culture. It kind of is your chosen culture, but it's not really your ancestral culture. Or perhaps you have both, like you have ancestors from both sides. Maybe you have indigenous ancestors and like white ancestors or whatever, like, you know, and or you have like one parent is black, one parent is white, and you have both, and you are both but neither at the same time. If that makes sense, if that's for you, please take it as it resonates. And I don't know how that's relevant to what we're talking about here. If that's not for you, maybe that's for somebody else. Doesn't mean there's nothing in this reading for you. It's just that maybe there's something important for that particular person this time today. All right, let's get into the cards, because it's like you're between worlds, or you are part of two worlds. Or this could be a metaphor. This doesn't have to be literal. We don't have to take everything literally. It can be a metaphor. It can be an analogy. It can be a parable, you know, where you are between two cultures and you are of both but of neither at the same time. Maybe you have multiple different cultures in your ancestry and you feel a certain connection to some of them, but you don't feel a connection to others, but like you're searching for your own particular individual identity, and your individual identity is complicated or complex because it's made up of different things and different peoples and different backgrounds, and like maybe you're choosing different elements from both, and you are a bridge between these cultures. You are the bridge. Yeah, because that was his role in Dances with Wolves, right? I'm sorry if that movie is offensive. Like, I don't know that movie. I don't know anything about it, really. I don't even... So I'm like hesitating. I'm a little nervous because I don't want people to be mad at me. Like, oh, that movie's offensive. Like, I'm so sorry if this movie is inappropriate or tacky. You know what I mean? Or taboo or something. Like, that's not my intention. My intention is just simply to be a humble tarot card reader on youtube.com and try to be helpful and of service to others and to give the messages as I receive them. But maybe this tackiness, this like outdated thing is part of why you are an important bridge between different cultures, and so that you can kind of set it straight, setting the record straight, setting the history straight, being the bridge between two different people so that you can facilitate some kind of communication, facilitate justice, facilitate growth and positive evolution. You know what I mean? Like something like that, where you are the bridge between two worlds, two cultures, two peoples, two groups of people who otherwise are very different and have very different worldview, very different approach to nature. All right, let's get into the cards. Okay, so we have the Nine of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups. We've got the Ace of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles. Wow, you are working on something that you really love. But there's this conflict here with the Five of Wands. So the Five of Wands, it feels like, is the overall energy. But the underlying energy is this powerful, and then we've got the High Priestess here as well. This powerful, like, love connection of understanding and wealth. Like, you have a wealth of spiritual and psychic knowledge that you are focused on mastering this. There is a new love here as well. But there's some kind of a conflict. This could be an inner conflict or an outer conflict. It's some kind of competition. It's competing disparate elements, all vying for resources, for time, for whatever they are competing for. There is a challenge here and a feeling of powerlessness and a feeling like you have to resist and push back and overcome this resistance. There may be a creative blockage. If you're an artist, if you are a musician, if you are a psychic, a healer, a spiritual worker, a light worker, a shadow worker, whatever. It's like you are focused on making the best of it, or mastering your craft or your skills in order to overcome this creative blockage. There's a regeneration, a renewal here. There is gaining wealth, momentum, luxury, the luxury of time. Okay, free time, spare time, hobbies. You are developing some kind of interest in this, I think, the arts or culture, or how does this relate to what we were channeling before? It's like being that bridge. What does it mean to be the bridge? It means to facilitate communication, to facilitate understanding. So you are in this Queen of Cups, High Priestess. The High Priestess is the bridge between two worlds as well. So you know, it might not be literal. It might be the bridge between this world and the next, between the beyond the veil and what is possible to perceive. As above, so below, but there is that bridge between the above and the below, the intersection between above and below, the intersection between these two elements, these two identities, these two cultures. Yeah, High Priestess is sitting between the two, the black and the white of the pillars, and she experiences both and neither. She is wearing gray and blue. She does not go to extremes. She is in between. She is the bridge between these two worlds. She is the intersection between the dark and the light, between the black and the white, between the conscious and the unconscious, these two worlds, okay? So you are developing your psychic intuition, your psychic awareness here. You're very independent, and it's important for you to guard your emotional independence, to be cautious with the way that you share your gift, and to really, okay, what else? Yeah, Three of Swords, the Emperor, the Wheel of Fortune. Some kind of heartbreak with this masculine element is changing for the better. All right, so gaining wealth and abundance in the material as well as the spiritual. This is like increase of spiritual growth because you've been studying, because you've been working on it. You're almost like you're a skilled apprentice who is mastering their craft and getting really good at what they do and gaining a lot of wealth, influence, or knowledge based on this. But there's something that needs to be kept quiet. You need to be reserved. You know, you're keeping it quiet. You're moving in silence. You're very reserved, cautious, because you're very sensitive. And if you're not cautious with it, you're being advised to be cautious with it, because there is some kind of conflict here. There is some kind of resistance. There's a lot of competing disparate elements. And so for you, it's important that you are authentic, that you are naturally honest about how you feel, about who you are, that you are open about this, but at the same time that you protect yourself, that you maintain your independence, and you use that free time wisely to build up your skills. This Ace of Cups, it's like, this is beautiful. The Queen of Cups, Ace of Cups, and Eight of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles. This is like, with the High Priestess, yeah, it's just, I'm getting like a very receptive, loving, psychic awareness, empathy, right? Like somebody who's an empath, who is building up their skills and who also is sort of facing some kind of resistance at the same time. Does this make sense for you, Capricorn? You could have Moon in Capricorn. You're receiving some kind of important insight, emotional insight. You may be really good at taking care of other people, nurturing other people, some kind of a nurse or a doctor, or, oh, your candle just went out. Let me get a new one. Let me get you a new candle. Give us a moment to meditate on this imagery. Okay, because we have the Queen of Cups and the High Priestess. Somebody here is very psychic, okay? And with the Ace of Cups, again, it's just reiterating, you are very psychically and spiritually aware. This is something that you can work on. You would gain a lot of maybe money doing this. You could do this for work. You could do this. You could be a humble YouTube tarot card reader as well. And I see you really making a name for yourself, or being really good at this because you're authentic. You are the real deal. You are the real psychic, intuitive, spiritual, nurturing, loving, helpful guide or servant. Like, something about being of service and helpful to others, because you know that this is your calling, because it helps you when you help others. You're clearing karma. You're being of service. You are making the world a better place. But you're also getting better and making your, honing your skills. And getting really good at this. You're getting really good at this. Like, you're really good at reading people, very emotionally intelligent and sensitive. You understand what makes people tick. You understand how people feel. You can just observe and read energy. You can read the room very well. You can just tell by looking at somebody what's going on. And maybe sometimes some people are difficult to read. Some people resist. Some people don't like it. Some people don't want you to read them, you know, and so I think you're being very sensitive to that as well. Sensitive to the needs of others. You know, if you realize that somebody is uncomfortable with you spying on their soul, or you know what I mean, like seeing into their soul, you kind of know how to, you know, step back and respect the boundaries of others as well. But you can also like astral project into their room and spy on them. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So you may have Venus in Virgo or important Virgo placements, as well as water sign, especially Cancer. And Leo here, we've got Mars in Leo. Very competitive environment where you are excelling because you are very sensitive and you're very good at understanding what needs to be done and how to do it. Like you pick up on things really quickly. You know when something's going on. You know when something's happening. You pick up on conflict as well. So, okay, I need to get some clarifiers. Can we clarify, please? What's going on with this five of Wands? What is this resistance, this creative blockage? You're overcoming this? Okay, we got 3 cards. We've got hesitation, indecision, and holding back. We've got decadence, regress, and stagnation. We've got repression, confusion, and fear. This may be at the root of this creative blockage that you are experiencing. You hesitate. You hold back. You can't decide whether or not you should do this, say this, be this, share this. And so you move in silence. You are very reserved. You keep a lot to yourself. You hold a lot back. You protect yourself. You're protecting your energy. You know you need to do that. It's important to protect your energy, of course. But the creative blockage here that we're talking about, this resistance, this conflict, inner conflict, outer conflict, whatever, it's coming from a place of hesitation, indecision, and holding back for some of you. For others, it may be decadence, stagnation. You're not moving forward. You're regressing. Okay? There may be an element of perhaps complacency or even, no offense, laziness. Like you don't want to do it. You don't want to have to fight for it. You don't want to have to do the work. It's too much work. It's too much effort. You feel tired maybe. You may have good reason for not wanting to do it, but this is what's coming out. There's a stagnation here. There's a regression. It's not moving forward because you're hesitating. You're holding back. This is causing stagnation. You feel maybe powerless. Maybe it's overwhelming. And then we've got repression, confusion, and fear. You're afraid to open up. You're afraid to make a decision. You hold back and you repress your psychic abilities or your emotional understanding or your ability to be of service to others because you're afraid it's not going to work out. Or you think that it's not true or it's not real or you're confused. What is my intuition trying to tell me? Maybe you're not sure. Maybe there's a need to do a cleansing ritual or to open up somehow. At the bottom of the deck, we have moving on, forgiveness, and acceptance. So perhaps that's your answer to overcoming it. If you want to move on from this creative blockage, there's a need for acceptance, accepting yourself and others, perhaps forgiving yourself and others, or just generally moving on from this conflict situation that is keeping you stuck and stagnant, hesitating, not sure if this is what you want to do. Your intuition is trying to speak to you about some direction that you should be going in your life, whether or not this is right for you. Again, there's this idea of being the caregiver, the provider. There's a practical mindset here. Maybe you are very practical, grounded, and down to earth. And there's something that your intuition is guiding you to do, perhaps going towards this new love. And you feel like you're hesitating to go for this opportunity. You hesitate to take this opportunity. And there's a fear of change. Okay, there's stagnation again, avoiding this conflict, avoiding the changes, avoiding a difficult situation. And this is causing stagnation in your life because you are repressing your intuition out of fear or confusion or hesitation because you don't want to go for it. You don't want to move on because perhaps there's a caregiver or you are the provider or you are the caregiver. Or somebody's providing and taking care of you, and it's a very practical arrangement. It's very comfortable. You don't want to get out of your comfort zone. It's stable, it's familiar. And yet there is also stagnation. Again, twice the word stagnation is coming through of this deck. There's a fear of change. You're avoiding your intuition. You are avoiding this new love. You feel like you're in conflict here. If this resonates for you, then this is your message. You know, if this is your story, this is your message. It's like you've got to come to a place of acceptance, and so that you can move on and forgive yourself and others if that's necessary or whatever. Doesn't mean you have to stay with them. Doesn't mean you have to get back together with somebody. It just means you liberate yourself from a stuck or stagnant situation that is, I think it's like, it's causing you to hesitate to follow your intuition, right? There's an intuitive message coming to you. You know this already. It's something that you already know. You don't need me to tell you that you already know. You love this person, or you want to go towards this new beginning, this new opportunity. Could be something that you're working on, but you're keeping it quiet to yourself. And, you know, it's because you don't want to compete. You don't want to fight for it. You don't want to work for it. Or you feel the sense of powerlessness, and from that comes indecision, holding back, stagnation, you know, etc. There's a lot of ground we've covered in this reading today, Capricorn. How do we bring it all together? There's a bridge between two worlds, a bridge between two cultures. You are standing at the intersection of perhaps two different cultures or two different decisions or something like that. You want to reconcile this within yourself somehow. You want to be authentic to who you are. And yet there's this natural quiet, there's this natural tendency to be quiet, to keep things to yourself, to focus on your work, to focus on what's practical. And there's a conflict here, maybe a conflict of interest or resistance somehow. You're facing this resistance, and there is this new love as well, but you're hesitating, you're resisting, you are confused, maybe you're afraid, and it's hard to make a choice. Maybe you're in your feelings about this. You're very sensitive at this time. So you just want to maintain independence. You want to be financially secure. So you're just focused on that because it's easier than dealing with this. And I guess the advice at the bottom of the deck here is acceptance, moving on, and forgiveness. This is going to help you to move forward, to get through this, to follow your intuition, and to hear the message, the guidance that it's coming towards you. It could have to do with some kind of masculine figure. It could be to do with like a third-party situation, because we did see the Emperor and the Three of Swords is kind of underneath. Taking charge, taking control, handling a situation, and making a decision, a difficult decision. There's also some sense of like attachment and suffering and sorrow. It's hard for you to do this. Whether it's a third-party situation or not depends. It might not be for everybody, but it's a decision to maybe let go of control or to make a hard choice that will put you in the driver's seat. I don't know, something like that. It's got to do with your independence and your work as well. Does that make sense? I feel like I was trying to recap, but there's a lot going on. It's a complicated reading. But it's like intuitively, you kind of already know what you need to do. You know you need to do something, to open up, to be... Okay, so your openness and your vulnerability are necessary, and they are beautiful. So, you know, a little vulnerability goes a long way in this situation, I think. But that's hard. Maybe that's really hard for a Capricorn, you know, to be in your emotions, to feel things deeply and strongly. Your openness and vitality make you beautiful. You're building up your psychic resources in order to share with others and to gain. You will gain so much. You will gain as much as you give. You're getting as much as you give, you know. You will get more if you... The more you give to this situation, the more you will get from it. The more you love this situation, the more love you will receive. But there's some drama here. There's some resistance. You know, like maybe you don't want to open up about this. You're holding back how you feel because maybe you don't want to get hurt, or you don't want, you know, there's fear, there's confusion, you're not sure. You love somebody. Do they love you back? You're wondering. If I show them my love, if I show them how I really feel, will they reject me or will they accept me? We've got acceptance here. Or maybe you just need to accept that this is not going anywhere, that there's resistance and you need to let it go and move on for right now. Maybe that's the answer. You love somebody, but they are not opening up to you. What do? You know, you love them, you can give them all the love in the world. Will they reciprocate? What if they don't? Then what? Maybe we should meditate on that. Maybe we meditate on being independent and whole within ourselves and guarding ourselves, right? Or is the answer to open up? To open up and share your feelings anyway, to be emotionally authentic, to have that sort of independence and integrity. That no matter what, you know, you give your love, you love somebody, and even if they don't return your love, that's okay. It says more about them than it does about you. So you love them, you feel your love, you love yourself as well. You give that same love to yourself. Doesn't matter if they, you know what, I don't know. It's like, I feel like you love somebody, but there's resistance or there's conflict or there's competition. And so for somebody, it's like you're holding back or they're holding back. Somebody here is. It's a general reading for Capricorn. You know, if you'd like personal details, we can get into that. But it's like one of you genuinely, like maybe it's you. Let's say you genuinely love somebody. You're attached. You want to be with them, you know. But there is a reason why they are holding back. They are not open up. They are at a distance. They are involved with somebody else. You know, it's like there's a conflict. So you hesitate. So you hold back. You're indecisive. Should I tell them? Should I not tell them? You're confused. You're afraid. You know, it's like it's not moving. It's not going anywhere. What do you do with that? Maybe you express yourself. Just do it. Just express yourself openly and honestly. And whatever happens, happens. And you're able to move on. You tell them, I love you, you know, but I accept that this is the way that it's going to be. And I have to live my life. And I'm just going to live my life for me. You know, if you come around, you come around. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't really affect me at all. It doesn't affect you at all. If, you know, it doesn't affect your money. It doesn't affect your life. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But I just feel like it doesn't really. There's something selfless about this as well. It's just like you just love this person or you feel this psychic connection. Whether you'll ever really be together or not doesn't really affect how you feel about this person. And it says more about you than it does about them. Your ability to love says more about you than it does about anybody else. Loving, caring person who gives that same energy to themselves as they do to anybody else. Something like that. Okay, so the Sustainer. This is the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. I just bought this deck the other day. I love it so much. So this is going to confirm, clarify, and close out the reading. This is a closing message for you, Capricorn. I have not yet memorized this deck, so we're going to read from the book. If that's something that's interesting to you, let's get into it. Number 24, the Sustainer. Yeah, let's read from the book. So, number 24. Here we go. The Peacemaker, the Upholder, and the Preserver. The Sustainer, the second archetype in the trio of existence, works behind the scenes, tending to the tasks of life. Oh, that's so Virgo. That is so Eight of Pentacles. Working behind the scenes, tending and taking care of the tasks of life. Just like so unassuming, right? They cultivate gardens, they pay bills, keep the meals warm, and the mouth sweetly fed. The Sustainer is at peace in the process of life, knowing there is no start or finish to humble yet meaningful tasks. They have a natural inclination to nurture and nourish others, to archive, to preserve the earth's resources, to consider environmental impact, to see their role in the divine cycle of life. It's common for the sustainer to become overworked, leading to resentment. Their tasks aren't glamorous, and therefore the sustainer rarely receives the credit or attention. The sustainer longs to hold on to things, to hold things in place so badly, especially relationships, that they resist necessary change. You see this? That's that resistance. Take time with this archetype. It is within us all. Yeah, it is within us all and needs our love. When light, this archetype is abundant, generous, supportive, and reliable. When dark, it is overworked, resentful, trapped, and tired. If you'd like to go deeper, look into Lakshmi, Vishnu, and Demeter. It says here, contemplate what truly sustains you. Make a list. Notice how simple yet powerful those things are and spend some time tending to them. Take note of the difference between maintaining and sustaining. Which action describes your life more accurately? So are you maintaining or are you sustaining? Interesting. So that gets into that resistance to change. Longing to hold on to something, working behind the scenes, sustaining your life, maintaining things behind the scenes, and yet resisting the need for change. So maybe something is changing. And it's important to be at peace with the process of life. You are the peacemaker, perhaps, in this situation. So what side of this do you feel like you're on? Are you the one resisting and hesitating? Or are you the one making peace? Are you the sustainer? Or what is it that sustains you? Interesting, Capricorn. I'm going to leave it there. That's your closing message. Anything else? I feel like this message, to me, it felt like it was kind of all over the place. Maybe it makes more sense to you than it does to me. Maybe I'll understand it myself later. I'll contemplate this myself and see how it feels later on. But it's like, yeah, the bridge between two worlds, the intersection, the resistance to change, dealing with the resistance to change, sustaining your life behind the scenes, quietly, yeah, independently, working behind the scenes, being helpful, being nourishing and of service to others. There, like I said, there's like a selflessness here. And yet at the same time, there's this resistance. I guess both can be true. Maybe this is you in the intersection between nourishing and giving and receiving, and that intersection between that psychic nurturing energy and also this resistance, this conflict, and this struggle, this challenge. But perhaps this challenge is necessary for growth. Usually they are. All right, that's what I've got for you today, Capricorn. I hope this was helpful. I hope it was of service to you. If you enjoyed this and you'd like a personal reading, my email's in the description box below. You can email me. I'll let you know how it works. You let me know what you need. But in any case, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. And I'll see you in the next one, okay? Bye.